So I've been watching this show on Paramount Plus. It's a CBS show, actually, Evil, and it's starring. I think it's Katja Herbers, which she's like Eastern Bloc of some sort. You can hear a little bit in her accent of either being Russian or Polish or,
Okay.
somewhere in that region of the world. And then Mike Colter, who also was in the other Netflix Marvel. What was the one with the Unbreakable chick? She was
Jessica
super
Jones?
strong. Yeah. Was it?
Jessica Jones, I believe.
Jessica Jones, right. Yeah. Coulter
Yeah.
was the other. He was the co star in Jessica Jones.
Okay.
And he's really good in this role. So, I mean, off the jump, I'm a little leery of CBS stuff just because
Under
usually
the
there's a
dome.
ton of propaganda in CBS stuff. Usually it's like cop status propaganda to make you like idolize some sort of government position, whether it be police officer or FBI or doctor.
Yeah.
It's got some sort of undertone message to make you think a certain way about certain types of things. So I'm always a little leery to CBS stuff going in. And you go, okay, the lead is a female, a black guy, and a Muslim. So right off the bat, your spidey sense tingles a little bit, but I always try and give it a wide, a, a lot of opportunity to not judge and say, oh, it's going to definitely be woke or definitely go this way because of that. Because, like I said, I am for more diversity in casting, uh, as long as it's warranted. We'll say.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
so right off the bat, you have a very multicultural, diverse cast to start off the show, and it's a really cool premise. So it's a procedural show, meaning basically the same thing happens every time in every episode, and then there's an overarching bigger storyline that we learn more and more about. It's a tried and true television format. And for me, I like it as a viewer. I like having the same thing, uh, know what I'm expecting going in. Like X Files is another good example of a procedural show. Mulder and Scully are going to show up on the crime scene. It's gonna be something they'd never seen before. Mulder's going to believe it. Scully's going to be skeptical. Then they're going to do research and have a conclusion at the end. All the while learning small things that tell a larger story that's all encompassing to the show. Um,
Mulder's an alien. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
Mulder's an alien. So this show very much is that where
Oh,
it's they're investigating paranormal, not paranormal. They're investigating demonic possession in various people, soon to be priest working for the Catholic Church, and then he brings in his sidekicks, Katja, who plays Christian, and the other actor Ben. You're going to get some trauma if the visual effects are so good.
right.
So the fact that instead the demon is a guy in a demon suit, and you can tell it's a guy in a demon suit, it kind of makes the show more approachable. Like you can watch it with your girl, and she's not going to be like, "What are you watching?" Like it's not this horrific, traumatizing horror show because it's a guy in a demon outfit. Uh, but it's still creepy. So it's this interesting thing where your initial thought is like, oh, these effects could be better, and you see the demon guy, you're like, that's the demon guy, like that could be better. But then over time, when you kind of see it, you're like, oh, it's much more approachable this way. You cater to a much broader audience by not having the demon be so horrific, and instead it's George in the demon outfit or whatever. And and that kind of theme persists throughout, where when they see, and it's always portrayed that they're hallucinating in some one way or another, so you don't know what they're seeing is real or not, and that's why it kind of works with the lower budget visual effects that they're doing. Because that said, also the difficulty of the visual effects are very difficult. Like when you're going to do a full CG, if you were trying to make a full CG demon or whatever, goat demon, say, that would be very expensive to pull off if it was going to be super high quality. dude
Absolutely.
in a goat outfit, not so much expensive wise, but harder to pull off without ruining your show. I've been surprised about how much I like this show because, like I said, there was the woke warnings in the beginning, and you're like, is this whole thing going to be a bunch of propaganda they're going to force feed me, like heavy-handed? And it's there. I'm not going to say it's not there. It's definitely there, but they do it in a way where it's a character saying those things. And so when a character delivers some sort of bias or ideology that they have, it actually strengthens their character because you know people like that in real life that think those same things. And so it's like, oh, Kristen thinks this. I know other white women who think that as well. And then, so they started dropping some woke stuff, and I was like, is this going to be woke? But then randomly, they say Epstein didn't kill himself. And I was like, huh? Did they just say that in a CBS show? And then they did. And then they slip in a couple other things from, so it's like, oh, there is bias, but they have both sides of the bias in the show, which is really unique for a TV show with this broad of an audience. And having it uh, give you more information about a certain character rather having all the characters in agreement about a certain thing,
Exactly. Yeah.
and saying like, oh, of course everything is like this, where they'll show you one thing and show you another. A part I didn't like along those lines was there was an episode where the bad guy, they kind of, and this could be all be in my head, like just to let you know, this could all be of my own imagination, but the parallel I saw was they kind of Jordan Peterson a little bit, and because it had to deal with incels, and Jordan Peterson notoriously helps incels try and find their way in life, which is a very noble and good thing, but for whatever reason, he's been demonized in the mainstream. And so there was an episode where the bad guy kind of did his best Jordan Peterson, and it was taking the things Jordan Peterson talks about and twisting it to be this, like what he's actually doing is trying to turn incels into killers type thing.
Oh,
And I didn't enjoy that, but like I said, I could have been drawing stronger parallels to that than actually were there. And somebody that's not a politico or follows up on those type of things wouldn't even see that at all, right? But that's what was happening in that scene. I'll stand by that comment. At the end of the day, Evil's a solid watch. They got a lot of cool stuff going on. Uh, if you are a person that leans one way toward a political bias or another way toward a political bias, I would say give it a chance. And they're not handing it to you, and they're doing it in a very thoughtful way if it is there at all. And the show's enjoyable enough where I haven't been so offended by it that I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. Yeah, on one side or the other, it's not too much one way or too much another. They do insert points of view on both sides here and there, but overall the show is completely watchable, and you can watch it on Paramount Plus, and it's been the surprise of all the shows I'm watching. I kind of watched it on a whim. I saw they had a free season on Amazon, and I watched that, and I was hooked after watching the first season. So
wow.
uh, then now I've been pounded through season 2, and I'm about to get into season 3.